take off quickly. Let's see what we do. No. Hello and welcome. Welcome to our humble dyno power making station. And the Mark 8 is on the rolls once again, and that's because I'm super excited to announce that we finally have a custom tuning solution for this car. Our friends at Cobb have released the EP3 VLK005, and this is the new serial, not the serial number, but rather the product number for the Mark 8 GTI, and they've also released the Mark 8 Golf R version. And why this is exciting is that now we can properly custom tune these cars. Our specialty has always been tuning, and custom tuning is something that I strongly believe in, because while canned or off-the-shelf tunes are a reasonable solution when you are able to cater your calibration to particular vehicles, to particular mods and particular setups, then you're going to get better results. So we've been waiting for this for a long time. Now it's here, it's in our hands. We've got our development car on the rollers, and the first thing that we must do is install the access port on the vehicle. And because not everyone is necessarily familiar with how this process goes, we'll quickly walk you through what is involved, show you some of the features, install it on the car, and then proceed to tuning the vehicle and showing you the results that you can achieve by tuning it. So without further ado, let's open the box and get to installing. So when you open the box here, what you get is that you get a pouch, you get your access port, sits in here. Now remember that this is just a protective film on top, so if your screen looks scratched and you still have this on, then just remove it. On the other side of this pouch, you get your USB cable, you get your carb EO sticker, which for people that are in areas where this is important for you to keep. So Cobb has worked hard to make sure that their devices are EO approved via carb. And then you get a magnetic mount for your access port, a faceplate that you can change to black, and then you also get an OBD cable, but the OBD cable is actually found here. Because it's a slightly lengthier process, what you want to do is you want to put a battery charger on the battery to make sure you maintain the appropriate voltage level during the install. So now that you've got your access port all wired to your OBD port, you've got it mounted in the cabin, make sure that you have your key inside the car for this process. Don't walk away with it. It can take a little while. Once again, you probably want to have a battery charger the first time you install it. So key on, and here you go OK, and the first time that you install it, when you install it, it'll have you confirm the vehicle that it's connected to. So it talks to the vehicle, so it confirms that you've got this particular ROM type. Click OK. So the vehicle is not correct. Oh,
2,000 years later.
Hello and good morning. We out here. It's raining, as predicted. And there's our GTI.
At this point, we still didn't have software support for our particular ECU, so we opted to just take the car to the track, bone stock with some tires, and have some fun. Support for our ECU did come shortly after, and then we're right back on the dyno.
Well, hello and welcome underneath our Mark 8 GTI. So we've had this guy bone stock on the dyno. We've had this guy on some ethanol, and now it's time to put the most common modifications on the car, see if they make any power, hear how they sound, and overall just enhance the experience of the Mark 8. Because the interior is not going to enhance your experience, we've got to add to it. There's more impetus, there's more desire to add to it. And here we have two pieces that are very popular as modifications. And this is an intake from CTS. And because you can always mix and match brands, we've got an exhaust from our friends at Cobb as well. This is a stainless steel catback exhaust. And I'm just going to open this guy up here. And then, of course, off she goes to our dyno, where we'll see just how much power there is to be gained from a catback. After that, we're gonna do the same with the intake. And then you have both objective and subjective information when modding your Mark 8. This car is already impressed with the amount of power that it makes on stock hardware. So there's plenty of power, and I mean plenty of power. If we get a little bit of power from the catback, that's extra bonus points because why not? But really what we're looking for is a little bit more noise, a little bit more rowdy. The pops on the car sound quite good, and we're gonna see if they're going to sound that much better. So what you see in here are some pipes. We're going to open those up. It's got one muffler, one resonator in here, one muffler. Well, it's actually kind of a second resonator, and then nothing else in the back. Maybe save a little bit of weight and add a whole bunch of sound. We have dynoed this car. Now we've got an exhaust on it. You guys have seen that. So the next logical step is the intake. Our friends at CTS offer a big of an intake. And this is gonna slot in very nicely over there, and we're gonna see what kind of power it makes. I think we can make a little bit more jam with a little bit more sauce. We've got E30 in the car right now. We've got the intake on there. It did make power, and I'm gonna keep you guys waiting to see what all this accumulates to, and it is worth the wait. All right. So we're here in the Mark 8, and I wanted to just go over the amazing and awesome gains that you get through just tuning on this car. And I wanted to show you the pump gas gains with just the intake and the catback versus stock. Intake, catback, and tune obviously versus stock, and then I'll compare that to the ethanol. So here we are showing you the dark line, which is the pump gas on pump 93, intake, catback, and our tune, and nothing else. DSG car, as you can see, and the DSG is still stock. I've been driving with this for quite some time, and it's awesome. There's absolutely no hiccups in the DSG. It's just power, power, power. And you can see here that the peak numbers here are 347 wheel horsepower and 400 and almost 2 foot-pounds of torque. I'm comparing this to the stock run when the car was just bone stock and on pump gas, obviously. You see that the stock run trails off here. That's because we hit the speed limiter. This takes you over 200 kilometers an hour, over 120 miles an hour in fourth gear. So, but what I also wanted to show you, which is even more dramatic, is how quickly in terms of time you accelerate through this gear. So here's the same graph, but now instead of having an engine RPM, I have time elapsed. So the dyno loads it accurately as though it's on the road, and you can see that with pump gas and our pump gas tune, it takes you about 11 seconds to go through that fourth gear pull. And on the stock tune, this car stock, it takes you 19 seconds. 19 seconds. That is an amazing difference. 92 wheel horsepower just on pump gas with a simple intake and catback and our tune. It gets a little bit more exciting when you do a few more things. And one of those more things is to throw some ethanol at it. So what we did here is we threw some ethanol at the car, and this is the comparison to stock again. And now we're about 340 wheel horsepower. You can see I smoothed out the torque nicely. So 387 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels. It's a nice, beautiful curve. This is just a bone stock car with a little bit of E in the tank. And now we're up 85 wheel horsepower over stock. And it just keeps on getting better from here. The next thing we did is we threw a catback at the car. No changes to tune, just catback in place. As you have probably guessed it, there isn't much to be gained from just a catback, and we gained about 6-7 wheel horsepower versus what it was doing on the tune without a catback. So sounds great, it's a Cobb catback, but power-wise, just a catback, not much more to gain. Now, what I've done here is we threw on an intake. And with the intake, I've always claimed about 10 wheel horsepower, and this proves exactly that. So this has got a catback, and the intake is the change. We've got now about 13 wheel horsepower gained. You can see the gains that are across the board. That's a nice little gain that you're gonna get from a higher flowing intake. Not massive, but we're starting to stack the gains up. And then I dialed this in just a little bit more. So turned it up a little bit more with the intake, gained a few more ponies. The curve remains nice and smooth. Now we're really cooking here, because now we've got 372 horsepower, and we've got 421 foot-pounds of torque. So that's a nice peak improvement over what we achieved before, and it's just tuning alone and refining, and we're always refining our craft. And now the last chart you're gonna see here is a comparison to where we started with the car. So this is the first one that you've seen here, the pump gas stock tune. This oscillation here is because the tires are not rated to go these speeds, and you can kind of see why. So 371 wheel horsepower versus 254 wheel horsepower. We're up 117 wheel, and we're up 113 foot-pounds of torque. This is all to the wheels. This is DSG, still unlocked, still untuned, and this is all in fourth gear. The car has gained tremendous amounts of power. Super happy about this outcome. This turbocharger on this Evo 4 GTI motor, almost like the turbo, the IS38 on the Mark 7s, on the Mark 7Rs. So Volkswagen has definitely stepped up the turbocharger in terms of flow. There's way more fueling headroom. There's way more fuel pressure. So you can then continue to build up from here, and we will. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a fully bolted car with an intercooler and a downpipe on next, just to show you what that can do, and move up upwards and onwards from there. So great platform. I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and if you've got any questions Mark 8 tuning wise, then please don't hesitate to give us a shout, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to tune and discuss with you what tuning will do and how to properly set up your car. This has all been done using the Cobb Access Port, so shout out to Cobb for having the support for these ECUs, and this is done with a Cobb catback and a CTS intake, which is a common modification. So just to close this off, I'm gonna take this guy out on the road, and we're gonna see what wheel spin on the streets looks like versus just wheel spin on the rollers. go on manual mode and just breathe on the throttle and, yep. And third gear, yep, and third gear. Oh mama, this is spicy. At the end of a turn here, it's like, oh, I want to take off quickly. Let's see how we do. No. Oh, wow. Whew. You're fighting this thing all the way, but it's so nice and smooth. Of course, you can take over manually as well and just really have control of like the gears. Oh yeah, wow. This feels really good. This is really good. Volkswagen, this is redemption for what you've done to the interior of this car. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan. I like my buttons. I like to be able to control things a little bit easier. We'll not harp on that, however. What we will harp on is that this Evo 4 motor is just the peach. The turbo is spunky and responsive and fun, and yeah, just forget about the touch stuff. Hold on to the steering wheel. You've got paddles up here. You can put it in drive, but just use the paddles and just enjoy the way this thing puts the power to those wheels and just propels you forward. Lots of fun, and this is the ethos of the GTI. Just how even in these traction limited, non-ideal conditions for a GTI, it's just, there it goes, yeah. Oh, I hope that you're seeing that I'm grin is big on my face. I'm enjoying it. And I hope you guys will enjoy it too. Enjoy your cars. We can tune them for you, help you set them up, help you enjoy them more. But just get out there, have a good old laugh, have a good old grin, and enjoy. Until next time.